Hey, Pepin.
Yo, 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 yo.
I've been thinking a lot lately about my face and like getting a face massage.
Ooh, that sounds nice. Are you gonna get it with like a some kind of lotion, coconut butter, or like I don't know, coconut oil, or like some other kind of coconut thing?
No, there are non-coconut based face massages, but I imagine I've never had one before. I imagine it's like you remember in Mario 64 how you can stretch his face in the beginning. I imagine it's like that.
No, I didn't really have a childhood. I didn't grow up with the whole Mario thing. I was more like a Sega man, like like Sonic,
Uh,
and like Dr. Robotnik. Those two were the best.
Nate, we need to talk. Welcome back. So glad you guys could join us. I am here once again with my best friend Nathan. Pepin, how's it going today, Pepin?
Yo, yo, I'm doing well. See, technology is now cooperating, so I'm very happy. Very,
That,
very happy.
that's fair. We have these fancy new mics. This is the first time we're recording using the King Bees. These things are amazing. We're live streaming at the same time, and we have special guests. We have the guys from Who Wants Bananas, Ryan and Tyler. How's it going today, guys?
That sounds like us.
Hey,
Let's get people acclimated to your voice. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing super good, man. It's hot and muggy over here by us. I know you were talking about that earlier, but AC is hopefully going to take care of that.
Fair enough. And Tyler, how are you? How you handling the heat?
I am just the right amount of glistening and soggy in all the wrong places, but I think it'll be all right. I've grown used to the moistness, and that's arguably the worst introduction I've ever had with anything.
Let's. Well, everyone is now acclimated to you guys and what you bring to the table, and the fact that you have the exact same voice.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we are the same person. We're more of a chimera that just kind of hangs out.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. And you guys are from Who Wants Bananas, a podcast. And if you type Who Wants Bananas into Google, the first links are all you guys' show.
That's good.
See, that's pretty cool.
Now I'm just waiting for the conspiracy theorists to just go nuts and figure out who does want bananas, and then they just overtake our SEO. Although I'm not even going to be mad at that if that happens.
I'd be impressed, honestly.
Why are there no bananas in the supermarket? Who wants bananas? And it just kind of goes nuts. Like, they weren't on the moon. It was faked. Like, oh, all right, neat.
Wait, the bananas weren't on the moon, or?
I think someone wants bananas on the moon. Can we get that started? Can we get that rumor going?
Oh, yeah. I mean, might as well.
Neil Armstrong needed bananas.
So you guys tell me a brief bit about your show. I've listened to several episodes and it sounds a lot like our show. You guys are really, really funny. You talk about a topic and you've had some ideas on the show that have blown my mind. Million, maybe even $1 billion ideas on your show.
We'll be happy with the percentage, honestly.
True, yep.
Yeah,
A measly 10.
Yeah,
would be fine.
just a measly 10 to 70%. But yeah, so our show mostly just we pick things to talk about as of this year so far anyway. We've kind of done it on like a monthly rotation. So we pick things for the month, talk about those, try to aim to entertain, make people laugh, question things ourselves, and just have a good time doing it, providing the funnies in the best way we know how by not shutting up.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better.
And you guys do a great job. Really, really funny show. Highly recommended. You guys talk about a topic. I love it. I was listening to an episode called Bimeo Vames, which
So good with our
as
naming scheme.
obviously is about video games.
Of course.
And you guys you were talking about the first games you remember playing, and that you guys said something that kind of blew my mind. So I wanna talk about that, and I wanna give our own perspective, and then get you guys' perspective in a little bit deeper of a dive, because you guys touched on it briefly, but that wasn't the main topic. And I'd love to kind of make that the main topic, because I think our early memories of video games that's super fascinating to me.
Sure, absolutely.
Quite the gap.
Yeah, no, I mean, because what did you end up saying? You said, what, Donkey Kong on the Atari?
Yeah, I remember. I don't even know how old I was at the time. It wasn't because Donkey Kong came out the late '80s in the Atari.
Yeah,
So I wasn't. It was years after it had come out at that point. But I just remember fairly vividly sitting like on my dad's lap because I was under 5 years old for sure. I wasn't even going to school yet or anything.
This is your only memory you have from that time.
It's arguably my only memory.
Because all the weed you smoked when you were in preschool.
That's got to be it.
Yeah, just so much marijuanas. I just
of them.
ate it by the bushel. So I just remember sitting on like my dad's lap in our living room. We had a TV up on the speakers that most dads had where they're 3 feet tall and they have the covering over them. We had, I think, a TV on that, the record player next to it. And I just remember, or maybe it wasn't anything and I was just 2 feet tall and everything was huge.
It's very possible.
And I just remember playing Donkey Kong. I was probably not very good at it. I'm not even 100% sure if I was playing. But I remember, right? But I remember having that just running. And I didn't realize how old or how early that was kind of till fairly recently too. I was like, oh, that's an old console with an old game.
That's super old. Yeah, no, that's pretty far back there, especially considering the age difference between me and you. Because my first
and to be clear, it's not a very it's not nearly as large an age gap as what this story is going to lead you to believe.
Not even a little.
Donkey Kong was released in 1981 in North America.
Oh, on the Atari?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that far back.
I mean, then wow, we were playing. Then even by then,
that's even bigger of a gap now.
Well, no, even so, I must have been playing it in like anywhere but maybe like 93, 94.
Yeah. So the game was almost 15 years old.
Right. And then, that probably explains why we had it. It was just old at that point.
Right.
Yeah, I remember playing those. But 80, jeez, I didn't realize it was.
I didn't know. I knew it was
Man.
old. I knew it was way old, but I didn't realize it was back in the early 80s.
And then Ryan, your classic experience.
Oh yeah, my first real dive into console playing when I was really young was on the GameCube. But I remember vividly going back and playing Velocity X and Super Mario Sunshine. Velocity X was a Hot Wheels game way back in the day, and that game was awesome. It was so much fun. It had a bunch of racing modes. It had a campaign too, which was crazy. And then there was like battles you could do. You could get weapons for the vehicles. It was so much fun. But then Super Mario Sunshine was a game that I played when I was really young. And then as a kid, as you do, you don't put your discs back in the cases, so they got scratched and they wouldn't read anymore. So it took me like 15 years to be able to get another copy when I had money and finally buy another copy and beat the game. It took me forever, but I'll never forget that. That was so much fun.
I think I heard of that the Velocity X one you said.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
because I've played or anything, but I think I saw a review on it's called that was that old show like X Games or something like that. No, what was it called? It had like Adam Sessler, X-Play. That's right.
Yeah, Morgan Webb, Adam
Sessler, and they reviewed that game and they said this game should be bad, but it's actually not that bad. This is actually somewhat fun. So
it really was fun. I recommend it if you haven't played it.
Well, has it aged well?
Probably not, but it's still a fun game, man. I'm telling you.
So just to stay with the accurate timeline, Donkey Kong released in 81 on the Atari.
Yep.
Hot Wheels Velocity X for the GameCube is in 2002.
Just a small gap.
Just a small 30 years.
Yeah, not a big deal.
The gap of those games can shrink legally.
Yeah, significantly.
Oh wait, that's only 20 years, not 30. Because
the other way around.
The Atari was released like in the early 70s, and the GameCube was released in 2001 in North America.
Yeah,
so
I remember
there's a 30-year gap between consoles.
Jesus.
Which
Man,
the console. So the age of the
was.
console that you guys played on, the difference between those ages is longer than I've been alive.
Same.
Longer than we've been alive.
Right. I don't
That's
know.
mind blowing.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Thinking back, I didn't know the GameCube came out in 2001 because I was really little when it came out. I didn't realize just how young I actually was with my own console for the first time. I had a TV in my room. I used to play that thing on my TV.
I was old.
Spoiled.
I was old for my console at that point. At like 3.
Yeah, I know you were way old.
It's always a little strange to look back at these games too, like not even from that long ago, and they all just look bad because they're an SD. Like we're so used to HD now. It's like you see like an SD game, you're like, this is blurry. Like how did I ever find this acceptable?
I love the fact that like for the Switch you can go on and play the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, which is all well and good. It's great. They actually have a visual option to put the scan lines back in it, so you can relive kind of what it looked like. Back in the day.
Pretty cool.
It'll degrade the quality.
Yeah. For the nostalgia's sake.
Like, this is too good. My childhood sucked, and just kind of bring it back to we have to hit the side of the thing.
Nate, what's the first game you remember?
So I can't really say because there's a couple games I played on the Sega, and one was like this Alien Space Invaders game type thing. It was like, I don't know, you had these guns and you went around. There was a Batman game, and the Batman game's kind of weird because I'm not sure if there's a good Batman game, but it's like we can never get past the first level. And we honestly, me and my brother, we're dumb and young, so we didn't think there's something beyond this. We thought that was the whole game. Like, you get to this ending point on the first level and you fight the boss and then you die. Eventually you might win. If you win the game. One day we got past it and we got to the second level. Like, wait, there's more?
I don't understand. There's a whole other game here.
The same was true of Sonic. Like, there was Sonic Adventure 2, which was an amazing game. I mean, we got past the first level, second level, and so on and so forth. But I didn't think there's an end to the game for some reason. Like, it does this in my child mind. So, eventually, my brother just keeps playing it, and he gets to this like air level and everything. And like, wait a second,
The worst level.
this exists. There's this air level here, and there's like this, and then he beats the game. There's an end credits. I'm like, I never knew this was here. There's so much more to this game than I thought.
That's crazy.
And now you see the end. Like, oh,
Now you know. Oh man, that's pretty cool actually.
that you didn't.
That you get to a point in the game you don't think you can get past, so you think that that's the end of the game, and then all of a sudden one day you do get past, and holy crap, that's a whole bunch more game. That must be an amazing feeling.
I that's effectively just you're imposing your own DLC at this point.
Yeah.
Like, man, I wish there was more. There's more. Like, that's great.
And then, so like we were mostly like a Sega family. Just I don't know, just because they got it somewhere, like at a yard sale. And then eventually, much later, they got an SNES and an SNES. And I didn't know what the difference was. We didn't have that great of games for it, so I always thought the Sega was better. Didn't have any Mario, didn't have any of that. And then when the PlayStation 1 went on sale, this is like when the PlayStation 2 was out, my mom got us the PlayStation 1. And it was like $50, and we got a couple games. The main game we got was Tekken 3. That game was amazing. And also Legend of Dragoon, if anyone's played that one.
Yeah. It was funny because I was fairly young when that came out. I didn't have the coordination or the patience to play most of that game, but my sister played through it heavily. That game was wild. Where you turn into like dragon things, or you have like that armor. I forget what they called it now. I haven't seen that game played in decades now, but
The weird thing with that game too is, so it's very Japanese in the sense that like they're like, all right, here are these dragons, and you want the dragons, and they're like this abstract art essentially at a certain point. Like the ending boss battles were kind of like, well, what is happening here? Like we're getting metaphysical.
yeah, I think I vaguely remember, because you just run around, and then eventually you can get this armor that's very dragon-like. Then eventually you can like summon dragons.
Yep,
It got interesting.
it's an amazing game. Meter. I think you were a Nintendo person, right? You got the Mario.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, like my earliest memory is kind of like esoteric. It feels like a dream, and that's unfortunate because it's like every memory I have feels like a dream. So I
That
don't
seems
know
like
if it
a-
really happened or not.
That seems like a problem. You should probably talk to somebody about that. Well,
But
here we
you
are.
know, so I remember, And I think I'm on the same boat as you, Nathan. And I remember Angry Video Game Nerd saying something similar when he talked about what's the one with the devils and you fight the devil at the end?
Dracula?
No. That's a
Castlevania?
really good guess, though.
Castlevania
No,
would
that's
be a good
another
one.
really good guess. Hold on, let's just play a guessing game where you try and think of what I'm thinking.
Where you beat the Bible? Like,
Wait, what?
Was that,
No,
was
not-
that your video
you don't
game as a kid?
You beat the Bible.
You just put it down. I did it.
I've never finished the Bible, but I imagine at the end you beat Satan, right?
That's
the Bible.
That's how most good stories
Right,
end.
that's the
so-
final boss. It has to
Right.
be.
Like Ghosts and Goblins.
Ghosts and Goblins? Okay. I heard that one's pretty tough.
So that was so unnecessary for me. Okay. So he was like, the first time that we beat that first, side scroll stage, you beat the unicorn at the end, and then now there's a second stage. That was mind blowing. I remember in the original NES Legend of Zelda, where right off the bat you start and there's 3 paths you can go on and then there's a cave. I vaguely remember somebody walking into that cave. That's all I remember.
Ominous.
And I always thought this was for like probably 10 plus years. I had this memory of somebody just walking into that cave and that was it. I don't know if because it was at my cousin's house. I remember that. They had all of the cool games. My dad would rent games for us, but we'd go to Hollywood Video and rent a game, and then we'd have to return the game a week later or whatever. So I remember my cousins had this game, and I left that day, but I remember going into that cave, and 10, maybe even 15 years later, I actually saw The Legend of Zelda on somebody play it on NES, and I'm like, oh my god, that was real.
That was a
Yeah.
real thing.
That was to the point where that cave is basically a meme now, where it's dangerous to go alone.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my earliest memory. I remember some flashes of Ghosts and Goblins, or Ghouls and Ghosts, or whatever it's called. But it was I remember the water level, which I believe is stage 2, 3, very, very distinctly, and I think that's what we were playing the day that I got burned really bad with ramen noodles.
This took an aggressive left, and it started with beating the
Whoa.
Bible.
No, well, that's fair. And then the devil won that day.
Wow, that got deep. Came full circle somehow.
All the way back to Jesus, as all good stories do.
That's what we should have called this episode. All the way back to Jesus.
All the way back to Jesus. We need bananas.
We need bananas.
No, we need Jesus.
We need Jesus.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah,
What-
it's fu- I like how because I feel like the same thing with Nintendo. Just like we never had it, but then like my cousin had the golden cartridge of Zelda. I'm like, oh, how did you get that?
So fancy.
I wasn't allowed to play it because it was
It was gold.
no. Get this, because it was too mature.
Oh my god, that's so dumb.
I mean, I remember Duck Hunt, and that was just a single screen, right? So
Yeah,
I think that's what I was accustomed to, is just that single screen.
Is there an end to Duck Hunt?
I don't think so.
Probably.
I think it just goes on forever until you beat the high score.
Yeah, I think it's high score related.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone was good enough or had a well lit enough room to. Because I don't think you can even play it on modern TVs. I don't think.
I have no idea.
You need these fancy bars. Yeah, because they'd use the the electron cathode ray tube thing.
Right.
But now-
radiation.
Yeah. With the current TVs, you have to get the bars on it. Because I know Nintendo released a refresh of it with the whole Wii system and everything. But
That sounds right.
the old system wouldn't work with new TVs. Also, one thing I think we're avoiding here, we haven't touched upon, is something that's all part of our history, which is Pokemon, right?
Mhm.
Oh,
I'm not avoiding it.
love Pokemon.
Pokemon.
That's Pokemon Yellow right there, baby.
it's
Oh, yeah.
That's great. That's really cool.
So the house I grew up in, it was not religious, or it was religious, but mostly my grandmother. And my grandmother, she kind of had this iron fist of Pokemon's from the devil, Harry Potter's from the
Oh
devil,
God.
rock music's from the devil, no Led Zeppelin. So we had to sneak in Pokemon cards and also, Pokemon games. So I somehow got a hold of Pokemon Red, and I would play it on my Game Boy, but I had to hide it because if I didn't, it would be destroyed.
Oh
And
no.
and I played that game so much. And my goal was to collect every Pokemon, and I did.
As you do.
And then I don't know where I learned about this, but I learned something about missing no, and I started
Oh,
exploring
no.
that, and then that
Oh,
like
no.
hidden town, and I just like thought I had just discovered something no one ever else had discovered. I mean, I read about it, but I was in that kind of like state of mind where like no one knows about this. I'm the first. I felt very special.
You
I
should.
just like it was a super religious grandmother at this point, and you get the game that has a fire demon on the back of it.
Yeah, that's
like not
great.
Blastoise, not the blue one, not the one shooting water, the one that's engulfed in flames.
Charizard was like my favorite Pokemon. I think it still is. Yeah, Charizard's favorite. Zapdos is pretty good too. But it's just like all the Pokemon stuff. That's a whole like culture, and it's really interesting because modern culture, like almost everybody has like Pokemon nostalgia. Like they all have like so many people with YouTubers that watch look at their back wall and have like Pokemon or Zelda and all this kind of stuff behind them, and they're kind of ingrained in like it's kind of like the modern culture. Whereas before, I don't know, people were classy. We just worship video games.
People were classy at some point. I don't know what happened, but here we are.
A Pokemon showed up, ruined it all.
That's fair. The demon monsters.
Yeah.
I think, Pokemon is a cornerstone of people our age, millennials, who grew up playing video games. I think everyone played Pokemon. My sisters didn't play too many video games, but they still had Pokemon cards, and we still collected those and put them in books and tried to get more. And I mean, that's everybody did.
Oh yeah, for sure. I even remember playing the old ones. I mean, I came around into Pokemon back when like the third generation came out with like Ruby and Sapphire and stuff, but I remember the hunt to try and find Pokemon Red and Blue and Crystal and all that because I wanted to play all of the games, even though by that point they're all basically the same. But the older ones, like Pokemon Yellow was one that I wanted so bad because Pikachu followed you around, and that was mind-boggling to me, and I wanted that experience so bad, and I did end up finding it, but I had to borrow it from my cousin in order to play it. So,
Third example of that happening in this episode.
but I did have to, but I did get to play it a little bit. I had to give it back, but I'll never forget the first time when Pikachu pops out of the ball, walks around behind you. Oh man, I loved that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they can have freedom? I don't like it.
Get back in your ball.
Just that one.
Yeah, the only one. He's special.
Right, we showed it was possible, but we don't want to do it.
Yeah, and I really don't want to do it either, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm going to cut this episode in 2 parts. Why? Because it's running a little bit long. Why? Because we need more content. So next week on We Need to Talk, we have part 2 of this episode called Pokemon Battles. We Need to Talk.